Hello to everyone, and welcome to Digest. This is the first series of the Digest series, and today we will talk about 5 different things about the maritime industry. And as expertise, I will explain the things around, let's say, we will deep dive mostly to the things that I see, let's say, from my side, what I believe for them, what we can improve. So we will have a quick discussion and talk about that. Very thank you that you are here. That means you are interested to hear my expertise, and we will look all of that insights and the latest, let's say, news from the maritime industry. First of all, I would like to thank you that you are here at MOC Insight. My name is Michael, and let's start quickly. First of all, I discovered that recently China delivered the first world sail-assisted Aframax tanker. That is really great news because by saving 15% of fuel, and maybe no more in some conditions, that is something extraordinary. So basically, just with the use of the air, we're able to make these savings. And these savings translates to fuels, to fossil fuels, and also to CO2. Basically, the companies that are investing in that, they're investing in the future, they're investing in the environment, they're investing in the communities. That is really great, it's a really solid project, and from here you can see a really great and solid design. It is fantastic. It shows that it is a precise check, precise adjustment, everything is exactly calculated as must to be in order to perform efficiently. That's really fantastic how the things are going. Hopefully more owners in the future will adopt this system. I really like that. And also they have additional features. They can bend as well. So if the vessel is passing, let's say, under the bridges, or the air draft, let's say, it's low, then you can just bend it them like this, and you can see also here on the video. Let me show you where they bend. Here you can see that the sail is already bended. So you just lower them and they stay in the fixed position. And also looking on the deck, it does not take that much, let's say, space. So basically this space is not used anyhow, let's say, for mooring or something else. These tankers, normally they have a lot of space. And also I would like to see the same thing also in VLCCs. I would like to see also in other vessels. It looks really solid. So saving these huge amounts of CO2, we actually invest in our clean air. Because this clean air, we breathe all of us together. Another thing that let's say, came to my eyes during these days, it is that a lot of tankers and a lot of vessels, let's say cargo vessels, being attacked in region of Gulf of Aden. So there is a lot of attacks actually. And one thing that it's really my concern, why still the ships are passing for there? Because it's reputational damage, it's also damage to the cargo itself. So basically the costs of the total loss of the vessel and the crew, what the crew is passing there, let's say they lost their lives, it's much bigger than making the turn through the south coast of Africa, and then from West Africa straight away to Europe. It really does not make any sense that some of the companies are still thinking that the passage there is safe. You can see that the space there between the passage is so small, so basically all these terrorists that are there, they're really easy to reach the vessels. So basically, yes, if you have some weapons like rockets and all the things, yes, that's done. You do not have to be really clever in order to think that your vessel will be attacked there. And when I was working on the vessels and also visiting the vessels as well, I asked some of the crew about how was your voyage? Did you pass, let's say, Gulf of Aden? And they told me no, we didn't pass. We passed normally from Africa, we did the big trip, but this is what our company decided. And I told them that is great, that is really great that company actually cares for you. Because yes, this is that actually should be. You cannot risk with the people's life, with the crew life. And it's not necessary to do that. Because you will lose the crew, you will lose the reputation, and then you will lose the cargo. You can do pollution also, which is huge environmental consequences. And the consequences are quite high because this area here, it is almost closed area. Whatever spillage will happen here, it have all the consequences along in the Red Sea, where there can be, let's say, some species, some inhabitants, and basically it will ruin the ecology for decades. Okay, so that's why we do not play with taking such, let's say, easy decisions. Okay, we will pass there, nothing will happen. Think always, the people that are working in the companies, think for yourself. If you was on board, will you like to be, let's say, there passing with the pirates? Because I think that not all the people are realizing the danger. They think that they know the danger, but actually they do not realize the real danger. And as I know, the human mind always underestimate the consequences, underestimate the actual condition. The actual condition, it is much worse than it seems. So we don't do, let's say, bully to the terrorists. We're just going straight away under the Africa, south of Africa, and then straight away from the West Africa to Europe. Another thing that I have think also, which can transform the industry and will help also huge to reduce the CO2 emissions, and this has to be agreed globally because we are living together in this planet. And if these, let's say, agreements will not be forced in action, then we will be in trouble for sure. Because what seems like competition, basically it is ruining our planet. And we are going to the next page. So this page is from WWF, and it says a really great critical message that it passed also. So why we have to reduce the speed, and what benefits has the slow steaming? And also I will tell you my personal experience. I have seen that many times we have orders for such speed, let's say, to catch some speed, okay? We are running, we are there, and then 2 days, let's say 3 days on anchorage. So what we did, we burn a lot of fuels, we burn, let's say, whatever fuel, we do so much CO2 emissions, and then we stay there. How much practical, let's say, environmental benefit it has? Zero. Basically, we ruin the environment. So, as society, we have to look different at things. Not only for the benefit and for the commercial and all the things. We have to look for for the environmental as well. So when we have these stricter regulations about the speed and all the things, and it's regulated much more better for everybody, same, we play actually the same game. We do not change the game. We do not make it accessible for, let's say, one side or for another side, okay? Everyone can make their selections. But if we, as the, let's say, higher amount of companies and, let's say, owners are done with this thing, okay, properly, assigned to that we are willing to protect the environment, to reduce the emissions further, much further, and it is beneficial. So let's look. By reducing the speed and burning less fuel, ships can significantly lower their greenhouse gases emissions. Research shows that a 10 to 20% of reduction in speed will cut baseline carbon emissions by 13 to 24%. So you can see directly, if we take, let's say, a baseline, and we will draw for the carbon emissions globally, by reducing the speeds of all the vessels across the globe, what we're doing basically, we are reducing by 13%. And this quantities is measurable, okay? It is really huge amount. It is translated in tons, in 1,000 tons, maybe million tons. Another thing that reduces also, which is also really important, is underwater noise. Slower speeds substantially reduce underwater noise pollution, protecting Arctic marine mammals like belugas, narwhal, bowhead whales, which depend on the sound to navigate and hand to communicate. Researchers show that 10% of the speed reduction can decrease noise pollution by 40%, and a 20% speed reduction can decrease the noise by 67%. Look how much huge effect it has. And if you're looking also to the carbon emissions, this 13%, it is terrific. It is terrific amount of emissions. Noise reduction. You directly see that if you slow down the industry and learn it, because basically what the industry it needed is a proper guidance which will help all the communities, and not just looking at the commercial, because the commercial does not care for anything else. Okay, they do not know, they do not have the knowledge, and this is the basic thing. What they knew is just, okay, how much cost is this, minus that, plus that, okay, we will get the vessel and we will make this money. They will never see the whole picture, how it is going. And basically, this is the reason why we are here, the experts, is to tell them and guide the industry in the proper direction. When everything is well balanced, the industry works much better. The commercial will work also. But we have to have in mind that we are not the pie. If you draw a pie, it's not built only by commercial, okay? And we do not have to give all the attention to the commercial as well. Because if you give all the attention to commercial, first of all, you surpass all the barriers and all the risks assessment. So basically, yes, the risks is increasing highly, and then you do not have a proper care for the rest of the pie. So basically you ruin them. And that's why the reason we have to give a proper attention to all the pieces of all the pie in order to create that environment that flourish in the long term, okay? We are not here to create noise. We're not here to create a short period gains, because short period gains is not sustainable. It does not create an environment of trust. It does not create an environment of value. And it does not create a transitional environment for the long-term success of the industry. Because what I have seen also from my experience, okay, they make some calculations, the business, let's say, managers, the analysts, and all the things. And then what happened? Stagnation. We do not have resources. We have not calculated that. We have not meet, let's say, the deadlines and all the things. Yes, because the whole sequence and the whole analysis of the business analysis and the business case was not proper, was not correct. So you didn't have all that knowledge that's required in order to identify in the early stage what is happening. And this is the consequences. This is the consequences of the emissions, of, let's say, climate change. This is how the things led later on, step by step, by closing eyes, thinking like that, like, for the horses, the closest, and going only straight, without looking around what is happening and how the things are really doing. So in order to find solutions, find pragmatic solutions, create opportunities, create a sustainable and valued environment for everything, for the communities, for the sea, let's say, itself, and the animals are living there, the mammals. We have to think much more deeply and much more wide. Another thing, let's go back to the benefits. The ship strikes, reducing the ship speed significantly decrease the risk of fatal collisions with whales by giving both whales and ship operators more time to detect each other and react and avoid the contact. So look, traveling at less than 18.8 knots cuts the chance by more than half, while speeds by 15 knots increase the risk exponentially towards 100%. So it's a small difference, but how much huge benefit it has. And also the vessel safety on the Arctic Ocean. We had many numerous accidents, extreme weather, poor visibility, sea ice variability, and poor map seafloors pose significant navigational challenge. Operating at slower speeds improve reaction time, which can help ships avoid obstacles like ice, floes, and wildlife. We can see that there is every year many accidents. And there is huge consequences. There is huge financial and environmental consequences. Let's be pragmatic. Let's be real on that, because we are looking to the long-term success. Another thing that really catch my eye, it is the autonomous shipping. The autonomous shipping itself, it's starting, let's say, some years back, but what I have seen, it will really reduce the accidents, and will reduce the accidents by removing the people from the vessels. Not all the vessels, but mostly in the smaller ones. So by removing the people from, let's say, autonomous vessels, we will have reduction of the fatalities. Basically, there will not be people to sustain, let's say, the fatality, okay? And it's much easier to apply these autonomous vessels on the small scale, on the small vessels, because then you can improve, you can get the feedback. Okay, we had that case, we had that, let's say, accident, or we had, so the scale will be much smaller if something happened. Okay, this is the starting point. And yes, the small vessels are more viable because they are easy to maneuver. They can have, let's say, ball thruster. They can have a Cameva system, a pitch propeller. On the bigger ships, yes. On the tankers, VLCCs, let's say, it's something more difficult, but it can be, let's say, also in the future, when the sensor will improve, when the things, let's say, when we will know the differences of the handling of each vessel, let's say anchorage, mooring, unmooring, and all the things operationally, then yes, probably we will find a way, but it will take some time frame. It will not happen in, let's say, 5 to 6 years from now. Okay, it will take stages and slowly implement it, then trial, error, feedback, and all the things in order to have a complete image, an overall image, and then we can progress further. So we start from the small vessels, autonomous, we check, we train the systems, maybe let's say we can improve by machine learning systems, also insert them navigational knowledge, but all the things really depends how much well these machines will be trained, how much well they identify the changes on the navigational routing and all that parameters. For sure, if you have, let's say, much more accurate cameras, if you have AI, it will much better, much quicker identify any risks, anything, but it will take time for learning. So it is a technically balancing for feasibility, economic return as well, how much economic return it has, and this is the safety impact. Another thing that, let's say, yes, we talk about autonomous shipping, we talk about reduction of, we talk about the pirates as well. And the next thing is, I have also my eye catch this post here from New Money of Minas Tsamopoulos. Very interesting thing that one of the CEO of Tsakos Energy Navigation, they have the philosophy that Greeks love their country, but they are not attached to country there, okay? So they would like flexibility. They have flexibility, as I see there, and they think that this is the best way to continue. Yes, flexibility is from one place, but flexibility also depends from the other countries, okay? So basically, when they give this flexibility, yes, it's good. You can go, let's say, to one shipyard, you can go to another country, let's say, to find crew. You can go anywhere you like, and this is that it should be. But what I think also, it is really important to create a safe environment, an environment that the shipping can be flourish also on its own country, of the country where the seamanship was born. Because looking back to the Greek, let's say, seamanship, we had 120,000 of seamen, and now we have almost about 10,000 seamen. So it's huge reduction. It is 90% reduction. We can draw a line which goes straight down and then, let's say, stabilize on a base, let's say, like a baseline or a horizontal line. Another thing is that yes, the world is full of opportunities, that's true, but you have to see the opportunities, you have to realize the opportunities, because each person has a different realization what means the opportunity, okay? And as I know, each and every owner has their own goals to be achieved, okay? So it can be something different. Each person has a different mind. It can mean everything. And also another thing that I would like to stand that despite Greek ship owners have the biggest ships fleet, this does not mean anything. This does not mean anything because it can be a trap. It can be a trap where you have volume of the dead weight and it does not show the overall image of the ship ownership. Okay, it does not show success on the other areas. So basically, what we have here, we have different statistics, we have different numbers, but these numbers can be really tricky for showing the real development and the success of the industry. I believe the ship owners, they understand that, and that's why they are looking opportunities on other countries, because they have seen that their own country is a little bit difficult for the business opportunities, and that's why it's much easier to go somewhere when you have, let's say, assets and funds to look for what you are really want for your fleet and for your business development. Another thing is that 20% of ton miles of the world sea trade transferred by Greek ships. 20%. And on LNG it goes up to 27%. Yes, that is great again. And looking to these numbers, 20% of all the ton miles of the world and 27% of the LNG fleet, and looking to our academies and looking the approach, how much investment has been done in the shipping industry and in the country itself, I can say it is really poor. This percentage does not really represent the power which is being distributed. It actually shows that it is a huge accumulation. Yes, it is a huge pie, let's say, percent, but these things can change significantly if not proper investments and proper optimization, let's say, of the vessels will be done, or the proper investments will be implemented. So investments also, when we mean investments, it's not just spent for the technology, it's also design vessels which should be ahead in the technology from the other nations, and also cost-wise, competitive cost-wise, to build the vessel, to build the fleet, and also to sustain that fleet consistently. Another thing we have here that the first quarter of 2025 Greek owners, they sent 65 new buildings, second after behind China. Yes, for sure, it is a high number in order to sustain the 20% and the 27% of the total global fleet. For me, it's normal. It shows, yes, in order to keep the pace, you have to buy new vessels in order to be competitive and also get higher freight rates. 49% of new orders, it was tankers, and tankers, from a view, they can transfer anything. They can transfer a lot of products, a lot of different products. And from a view, I see that the tankers will not stop, also containers will not stop. And yes, we will still continue a lot of transferring. What I see, what is needed from the industry, it needed more flexibility and more for identifying new opportunities. So now the market is much more smarter It's not just taking the cargo, let's say, from one point to another point, is to create a vessel which will be flexible, which will be less time consuming, which will be more efficient. And this is how the competency will be increased. And yes, between the owners, between the companies. So 67% of all orders went to South Korea, less, let's say, exposure to China. I think that the main difference before in China it was the metals. I don't know how they improved the things, but basically there is some designs that you can do. You can create really cheap designs. You can really reduce the costs much more than it's now. And I believe that green technology should be used not only for the end product, as let's say we say the sails, okay, we say the engine. It should be the green technology, and it should be also on the design itself, okay. We should look for time reduction, optimization, less expenses, how we will do the job easier and simplify it. Because if we create a vessel which is fully technological and we have let's say 100 people to support it, it's not a feasible business, okay. 7.3% of LNG, Greek LNG, has the opportunity to burn LNG. 7.3% of Greek ships, Greek fleet. If you compare with the global, it's 6.4, so it's closer, a little bit higher by 0.9%. 43% it is optionally installed technological advanced equipment in order to save the energy. If we compare with the average of the world, it's 39. 66% of new building tankers or Greek tankers, they have scrubbers, compared with 57% worldwide. For scrubbers, I will not say that is something good, okay? I will not say that is something good for scrubbers, because scrubbers itself, they create a lot of potential problems, so this is not something good. And that's why I'm telling that when you have the data and you compare the something and you say that you are better than somebody else, you have to really understand what you're talking about. You need to really to understand what is this thing that you are present to others. It's not just taking the numbers and say, okay, we are better in this case than the others because we have much better percent, okay? It's not working like that. It is the half story of what we are presenting. And also here, how much it goes to the Greek economy, 14 billion, let's say, inflow, but this 14 billion inflow does not shows anything where this money goes, okay, how this money will be distributed for the improvement of the existing infrastructure, on the Greek shipping, on the development, on the training. So this money goes, okay, to the Greek economy, but how the Greek economy distributes and reinvest this money, because this is huge amount, 14 billions, okay? And 1.5 billion investments in dollars per year in different, let's say, allocations. So also this is a really, really huge amount, okay? It's really a huge amount. If you take this money and you see how much goes to the economy and how much it was invested, I believe it should be much bigger, this amount. It's still big, but it's not big enough from what the fleet is transferring, I think. So it can be really bigger. If you look, let's say, to the fleet, 2,000, it can be more. It can be more, yes. It can reach double the price here. And I believe, yes, the companies should do that because they need to support the Greek economy as much they can. And it says 150,000 working. For me, it will be much better not to make it, let's say, all together, because it does not shows that you have that kind of person or that kind of person. We need to know exactly how much people we have allocated to specific roles, specific technical skills, let's say deck, support, and all the things. So we need really details on that and how much change we have. So if you have 150,000 working places, let's say jobs, and then the next year we have 140 or 160, let's say plus, what increase we have, what people are entering and what people are going from the industry. Okay, so these numbers itself does not tell all the story. And also this is the reason why I take this let's say report, this preview and this speech is saying that the salary in the shipping is 3 times more than the Greek salary. So we can take here and we can say that if you're starting, let's say, as third officer or second officer on the deck, you are taking 4,200 euros about, okay? The Greek salary it's about 1,000, let's say. So yes, it is 3 times more, that's true. But if you divide this salary by 2, you get 2,200, okay? 2,200 per year. Because 6 months you can work, 6 months you cannot work. And when you are not working, you do not have any income. Some companies, yes, they are giving, let's say, standby bonus. Okay, that is fine, but still it cannot cover their expenses in nowadays, okay? And even with this salary of 2,200, it's not enough for a family, okay? It's just enough to sustain them, but they cannot do anything else, okay? So by telling already that this is a good salary, it's not a good salary, because the seamen on board are working 24 hours, 24/7, they are available. They are there to protect the vessel, they are there to monitor the vessel if any alarms coming, because it is moving factory. And if we take a calculator, and we make some calculations, okay, this is our calculator. Let's say 5,000, okay, let's say 5,000, which is the first salary. But not all the people are taking these salaries, okay? The oilers, the wipers are getting much less. If we divide it by 30, which is 30 days that you are working, it is 166 per day earning. So you're there 24 hours, 24/7. You're basically paid 6.9 euros per hour. And if we take, let's say, captain's salary, 15,000 per month, divide by 30, which is the month, and then divide by 24 hours, captain takes $20.83 per hour. Okay, risking their life, not living, let's say, the normal life that is on the shore, missing a lot of things. You are only on board in the vessel. So basically, your life, it's not life. You just serve the industry. And if you're lucky, yes, you will have good crew. If you are not lucky, you will have, let's say, some people that are making your life much more difficult. And this is why the reason why the new generations are leaving the seafaring. That's all. What else? What else we can do? That is it. That is it. And in order to improve these things, yes, we have to work harder in order to create the environment for people to come there. Still, it's not there, and still the industry is in the stagnation. As I see all that numbers, it does not show real development. It shows that it's a just, let's say, titles in order to increase and create some leverage, create some power in order to get more, let's say, transfer capacity. It's not showing quality. And for me, quality is the most important thing, is the most important indicator when you create high value products, when you high value your crew, when you high value your personnel, and you know that the thing they're doing, they will create high value at the end of the supply chain. This is the only way to go forward. You can do it how in other many ways, whatever you like, but I can show you only the most efficient, the most great way to build, let's say, the crew, the vessels, and train your people as much as possible. Thank you very much from Michael. See you in the next digest or in the next video. I hope you like my translations on different languages. It is AI based, but anyway, it is some starting point for a new connection, a new dialogue from a different countries. Don't forget to join my website, don't forget to join my memberships, and take yourself to the world of the simulations, of the world of different projects, and look the things with a different perspective. Thank you very much, and